Alan, Mazak, you were due to go to the MACH event. It's been postponed to January. How does that affect Mazak?
Yeah, of course, we're disappointed we couldn't go to the MACH show last week, but of course, we're also very excited that we've got the MACH show coming up at the start of next year. And it's always a massive plus for UK manufacturing to have the MACH show demonstrate such a wide wealth of technologies from across a breadth of applications. So we're looking forward to January and looking forward to technology we can demonstrate to our UK customer base.
What machines are you taking? I know I'm going to speak to Mark in a moment, but what types of technology will be on the stand?
We've tried to select machines which reflect the breadth of industries that the UK is so great at and so innovative at. So we've selected 10 machines which will be on our stand in January, and they'll cover from automation, which is obviously a key theme, from requirements for specific industries like the gear cutting industry, which Mark will talk about shortly. Laser is clearly a big market for us in the UK and growing rapidly. So we'll be taking the Optiplex 3015. In addition to that, we'll have products from our UK factory here based in Worcester, so the VTC 800 and the latest generation CV5 500, which again, my colleague Mark Hall from the European Product Group will talk about in a little bit more detail.
It's good. So you've got a lot of UK designed, UK built machines, as well as pulling in machines from around the world.
Absolutely, yeah. We try and have a balance between latest technologies launched at the EMO show and also those we're developing here within the UK to fit with the UK and European requirements. So examples of that are clearly the VTC with such a great success and now the CV5 500.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a MACH trade show without Mazak at the event. So I look forward to January and I look forward to seeing the technology you've got to show.
Thanks very much. Yeah, we're really excited about the prospects and hopefully by the time we get to January, we'll be in a very clear position in terms of UK manufacturing and a strong growth forward.
So Mark, I'd like to start with the Variaxis i300 AWC. I know it's got a 32 station pallet pull, so maybe we can start on the automation.
Hello, Joe. You raised a good point there about the Variaxis and what part it plays at the moment within the UK manufacturing industry. Lots of people now manufacture with 5-axis. It's becoming more and more necessary with the type of complex components that we're seeing there, and also with the ability to reduce even perhaps traditional 3-axis components by reducing the cycle times down and the number of operations. So the real key factor is that a number of customers now are manufacturing bespoke components. They're designing very quickly the components or reacting very quickly as subcontractors, and then manufacturing small volumes of components but with a high mix of parts. And this is where the Variaxis i300 AWC really comes into play. It's a highly accurate machine, but with the automation function able to carry either 32 stocker or a 40 stocker of workpieces, the customer can manufacture a high mix of components during unmanned time.
Yeah, if you're doing a high mix of components, that would mean you need a high amount of tools. How many tools can you get on the Integrex, Variaxis rather?
Well, we start with 145, and then we go up over increments of 60 to 505 tools. So it's a really key point because today, lots of 5-axis machining has been optimized. People have heavily invested into CAD/CAM and heavily invested into tools, and lots of cycle time has been optimized. But one area that probably can still be optimized further is setup time and downtime. And setup time is obviously very damaging if you've got the spindle not running. So what we need to do is have a high uptime of the spindle. So by having the AWC, we can schedule workpieces in sequence, and we can move very quickly from one component to the next without any downtime. Tooling costs are relatively cheap nowadays, so the ability to have tools set up on demand and available for production is key.
Yeah, and the fact it's a fully graded machine in cell, I like. Add-ons are fantastic, but this is fully integrated. Another point I'd like to make is, although the i300 isn't an i500, there's not a massive difference in capacity in terms of maximum workpiece.
No, that's true. The stroke is very similar on there because of the automation function. The workpiece is 315 millimeters high up to 350 millimeters in diameter with a 65 kilogram payload. So it's a sizable workpiece, able to manufacture many workpieces that our customers manufacture today.
Just the final 2 points on this machine for me, Mark. I like the tool changer, how it's hidden out the back. And secondly, the smooth control.
You raise a really good point, and that's an important factor for our customers, is the integration of all the aspects of the machine, from the machine, the automation, and the tool changer, all under the Mazak name. And one of the areas that we've worked very hard on is the integration of software with tool management and also the management of the automation function. There's an application directly on the control called the AWC. It allows you to schedule the work pieces, and then also we can interrogate really the capacity of the machine and the resources. So we can look ahead for 16 hours and check the resources of tools available for the production schedule and demand. With the tooling as well, for a number of years, Mazak's invested in producing software to aid customers on this very important aspect. So if you consider the fact that the machine might be running for 2 days unmanned, at the end of that time, it's necessary to service the tools, especially if you're working in exotic materials. So we can change over tools very quickly with tool ID chips, and allowing us really to access many important functions of the machine, such as controlling through tool life and also through overload settings as well.
Okay, if we can move over to the Integrex, the IH to start with. The Integrex was a world-renowned, very popular machine, but this has been redesigned, hasn't it? Completely redesigned. So maybe you can just quickly, briefly run through some of the enhancements over previous models.
Well, the Integrex is our flagship product. The concept of done-in-one manufacturing originated with Mazak, and Mazak were the first producers of the multitasking machine. What we've done is we've enhanced our machine by taking on board the requirements of the customer, looking at our research into this product, and developing a product that's really key for the way in which manufacturers will wish to go forward.
One of the big highlights for me is the redesigned lower turret. Tell us the thinking of the lower turret.
Well, there's a number of aspects that we've taken into consideration for the whole machine design now. Really improved productivity for today's customers. So the concept of done-in-one is well understood by our customers, and many of our customers are a great success reducing their manufacturing costs by this. But really now, to compete, again, what we need to do is to lower that manufacturing cost. So the lower turret has been designed really to further reduce cycle times, and also with the growing demand for more complex workpieces to take on board things like mounting, hydraulic steady rest, tailstock center, and longer tools as well. It provides a fully symmetrical basis. So the upper turret and the lower turret are in a symmetrical alignment, which leads itself to better production of parts where pinch turning or balanced machining is required.
Yeah, and again, you've done something clever with the tool changer, similarly to the variaxes. You've moved the tool changer. Sorry, the tool storage.
Yeah. Today's market is moving fast towards automation, and customers are looking into those solutions. What we've done is to look at the Integrex and design it from the ground up to focus on really today's requirement, one of those being automation. So the machine's been designed that we can more easily site an automation system next to the machine. However, the previous Integrex had many really good design aspects in terms of ergonomics. The operator was very close to the NC control, he's very close to the working area, and he's very close to the tool magazine. We didn't want to disturb those aspects, but we wanted to really look at the way in which we could engage with automation. So the magazine has been repositioned to the rear of the machine. That allows for full access for the operator. But at the same time, we have a very clever utility at the front of the machine where operators can change tools through the front. So what this really does is cut down the operator's workload and make the whole experience of operating the machine much better for the operator.
So just while we're talking about the Integrex IH, can you give me a few enhancements? You know, what are the main enhancements over previous models?
Very interesting with this new model. Across the series, we've been able to reduce the floor space, which is key for our customers who are looking to do more within their size workshops. But within that, whilst we've reduced the overall size of the machine, we've increased the working capacity. So the machine is able to produce a bigger component, it's got larger strokes. And with all that, surprisingly, we've increased the rigidity of the machine. So overall, it's a huge step up in terms of what we're able to do now with a multitasking machine. As well as that, we see the new Smooth AI control, which is the world's first CNC with AI function.
So you mentioned AI on a CNC controller. What are you doing at Mazak with artificial intelligence?
Well, the new Smooth AI control has 3 AI functions. One of them is solid Mazak. It allows you to input a model directly into the control system, and then it will automatically program that model for you into a finished component part. It dramatically reduces the time necessary to produce a program, but very importantly, as the machine is used, the function learns, and so the machine takes advantage of its machine learning function. Together with that, we have the Smooth Spindle AI. This is a function really that when you're machining a component, to begin with, you might encounter vibration. This could come from a number of reasons. It could come from the tool itself, it could come from the way the workpiece is clamped, or even the cutting conditions of the workpiece. Generally, operators have a lot of skill. What they're able to do is listen to the sound of the cutting and then adjust the feeds and speeds. But we have a function where we can automatically select a button. The machine will then listen to the sound of the cutting, and then with a closed feedback loop, correct and apply the best cutting performance for that process. Additionally, as well, with today's manufacturing of high quality, high accuracy components, we've developed an AI thermal shield, which enhances our thermal shield to make the machine more accurate by using AI functions to learn and gather data about how we're machining and the accuracy of the components.
Well, whilst we're talking about Integrex, if we can move across to the AG, which falls under your hybrid umbrella, obviously a gear production machine. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, the Integrex IG is a development really on a hybrid basis, taking the full advances of a multitasking machine that's able to do 5-axis machining, turning, milling, all sorts of different disciplines, but then adding it with specialized gear cutting. So today what we're seeing is a growth in components requiring gears. That's for a number of reasons. We're seeing advances in aerospace and the requirements for fuel efficiencies, and also the obvious one with car manufacturers to drive towards electric gearboxes, etc. So there are more gears being produced right now, but a number of manufacturers, what they're looking to do is to move the manufacturing platform from traditional gear manufacturing machines now onto universal machine tools such as the Integrex. One of the reasons for that is the lot sizes for producing gears have been reducing, and it's a lot quicker to set up on a multitasking machine than perhaps on traditional gear cutting machines. But that in itself is a very interesting challenge, because whilst it's easy to move components that have been traditionally made on gear manufacturing machines onto a machine like the Integrex, we're talking about a transfer of skills. And so to do that, we've invested heavily on the user interface, and through the smooth gear machining choices, where you can do either smooth gear skiving, smooth gear milling, or smooth gear hobbing, through a very easy dialogue, which is a bit like conversational programming, we can make a complex gear cycle by programming in just 10 minutes.
And is it purely software additions, or does this model have hardware additions also against the standard?
There are a number of, there are a number of hardware additions as well. I mean, the software interface makes it very easy for perhaps people who are inexperienced at manufacturing gears to be able to produce gears. But the requirement of manufacturing gears is very complex, especially when you get into skiving, and the synchronization requirements between the main spindle and the mill spindle are very high. Our Smooth AG, the Integrex i200 AG, we're able to revolve the turning spindle at 5,000 RPM in synchronization with the milling spindle to produce very high-speed gears. So it requires a number of sophisticated hardware components to maintain that synchronization and the necessary accuracy.
So Alan, lots of technology on your stand, as always, from Mazak. It'd be great to see you at the show, and I look forward to it.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to January. So it's a pity it couldn't happen in its normal slot, but I think the positioning of the MACH show at the start of next year is going to be a real fillip to the UK industry as it comes out of these difficult times. And we're looking forward to a very successful, a very busy show, and demonstrating the technology that we've developed in accordance with the demands that we're seeing from our customers across many industries in the UK and globally. So yeah, come along and see us at MACH in January.